confession to make, guys. I love talking about movies and TV, so we're gonna do more of that on the channel starting now. Hi, I'm Dr. Dex, not a real doctor. Today we're talking about the best thing to happen to Star Wars in generations. Of course, I'm talking about The Mandalorian. After a friend convinced me to give Season 1 a shot, I've been totally hooked on the show. It has a very traditional structure, by which I mean it's like TV used to work. Every episode is a self-contained story that can be enjoyed individually. It's also a very tight story, the first season only spanning 8 episodes, with a team of all-star directors at the helm giving each episode its own identity. While there are a lot of predictable tropes, they are so well executed, it's clearly meant as an homage instead of being used as a crutch. Who doesn't like a good heist and/or prison break episode, right? Today we're talking about Season 2, specifically a story detail from Episode 4. This is the latest episode at the time of recording, so if you haven't seen it yet, be mindful of spoilers ahead. To make a very long story short, The Mandalorian decided to remind everyone of midichlorians, or the M-word as it's known among Star Wars fans. In this episode, we discover the Empire has been infusing people with midichlorian-rich blood. They have to do this in the most evil way possible, of course, by draining it from Baby Yoda. That's why Werner Herzog said,
"I would like to see the baby."
I love that guy. We discovered this through a holographic recording from a scientist who mentions blood with a high M count, M referring to the infamous midichlorians without outright saying it. But it doesn't really ruin anything here like it seems to do for a lot of people in The Phantom Menace. Why is that? Well, I think it's all about the context. People generally hate midichlorians because it totally demystifies the Force. Forget the celibacy and meditation, it's all about that M count, baby. Hot damn, I can shoot lightning from my fingertips. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Palpatine. It's like you can be a true believer and run around the swamp with a Muppet on your back all day long, but if you lack the midichlorians, you're not lifting a pebble with your awesome mind power. That's just a very sad and harsh reality, on top of being a very off message for the Jedi. Which is the point I've been joking my way towards, by the way. The problem isn't that midichlorians ruined the Force, but it should have never been introduced by the Jedi. Think about it, the Jedi Order should be all about that spirituality and being in harmony. Of course they are technologically advanced, but doing a blood test to see if your score is high enough? This sounds less like a spiritual order of monks and more like a cult. Which it is, by the way. The Jedi Order in the prequels is like a crazy cult, with their weird beliefs turning the Chosen One of Legends into one of history's greatest monsters. The Jedi are dumb. They shouldn't use midichlorians as an admission test. You're telling me a Jedi Master can't sense the Force in their candidates? You need a blood sample? It's just one of those things that doesn't add up. Like Mr. Plinkett would say, you may not have noticed, but your brain did. How did The Mandalorian manage to pull this off, though? Simple, they just kept the same concept, but now it's the Empire who's looking at the M counts. Which makes a million times more sense to me. Obviously, the Empire knows about the Force, even if they don't believe in the surrounding Jedi and Sith mythology. There are people that have proven to be capable of all sorts of wacky space magic. It's just a scientific fact of their universe. So the Empire has a completely different view of the Force. To them, it's something tangible that can be studied and understood. A power to be used and weaponized. So it makes sense they would forego the whole religious angle and just look at the cold hard science. Which is probably what George Lucas had in mind when he came up with the concept. It just would have been better if it was something only the villains cared about. Here's another idea if anyone ever invents a time machine and goes back to bother George Lucas in the mid-90s. This has been Dr. Dex rambling about midichlorians, The Mandalorian, and Star Wars in general. If you enjoyed what you saw here, like, subscribe, ring the bell, leave a comment, and tickle me on Twitter at @DrDex. Thank you all very much for watching, and stay safe out there.